This video is based on the teachings of Napoleon Hill. Without further delay, let's begin. Transform your life in 90 days with this habit. You don't need a miracle or a Harvard degree or a millionaire inheritance to change your life. All you need is one habit, just one. But in less than 90 days, you will no longer be the same person. You will be calmer, more confident, richer, not just in your pocket, but in your mind. And today we are going to tell you exactly what that habit is, how it works, and why almost no one has the courage to apply it until the end. So, stay with us until the end. If you are over 20 years old, feel that your life is not where it should be, and want a real change, this video is for you. And before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment below which habits you know you need to develop, but still haven't had the courage to start. Napoleon Hill was not a millionaire. He didn't found a big company, and yet he transformed more lives than any modern guru. Why? Because he had direct access to the minds of the most successful men in history: Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison. Hill spent more than 20 years studying what these giants did differently, and after that he delivered something simple, direct, and powerful: a map, a mental manual to create wealth, purpose, and freedom. The name of the book: Think and Grow Rich. But what few people realize is that behind the entire philosophy, there is a starting point, a single habit, a practice that all of these men, without exception, shared. And that is what we are talking about here. While most people chase new techniques, internet hacks, and complicated strategies, the true masters go back to the basics, to the essential. They build the life they want based on one well-practiced habit. And that is where everything starts to change. Motivation disappears, fatigue arrives, but the habit remains. And that changes everything, because it is the habit that converts desire into results, dreams into reality, and transforms ordinary men into unstoppable men. The problem is that most people live as if they had plenty of time. They wake up tired, hit the snooze button, rush just to survive the day, and in the end repeat the cycle. The years go by, opportunities slip away, and all that remains is regret. Not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked habit, purpose, and courage to do what needed to be done every single day, even without motivation. We live in a distracted world. Social media, series, notifications, everything was created to capture your attention. And the more distracted you are, the further you are from the life you want. That's where the trap appears. You feel busy all the time, but you're not moving forward, always starting something new, but never finishing anything. You read a book here, watch a motivational video there. You promise to change on Monday, but Monday never comes. Do you know what you are missing? Clarity, direction, and discipline to sustain one single habit until it transforms who you are inside. Hill said that indecision is the #1 enemy of success, and that failure begins when you allow routine to define who you become. The modern man wants freedom but lives as a slave to distractions. He wants to be rich but spends everything on things that only feed his anxiety. He wants respect but doesn't even keep his own word. Here's the point. Failure is not an event. It is the accumulation of small daily neglects. And success is the same thing, only in reverse. Small habits, small decisions, repeated with consistency, even on the worst days, especially on the worst days, because that is where true growth happens. Napoleon Hill interviewed the most powerful men in the world. And do you know what he discovered? That all of them, without exception, practiced one single thing daily. The habit of defining a clear purpose and repeating it out loud with emotion and conviction. It sounds simple, even ridiculous, but that's where the power lies. Hill called this a definite purpose and said that no success is possible without it. Most people wake up without knowing what they are building, without a plan, without a why. They live reacting instead of creating. But the men who build wealth and freedom start the day by remembering who they are, what they want, and why they do what they do. They don't just think, they affirm out loud with energy and truth. They repeat their goals, visualize the future, feel victory before it happens. In the first few days, everything may feel exciting. You might wake up early, read your purpose, feel a surge of energy, as if the universe were finally conspiring in your favor. But just a few weeks are enough for reality to kick in. Motivation can disappear, routine can become heavy, and old habits begin to knock at the door. That's when the real battle begins. The mind that sabotages doesn't scream. It whispers, "Today you can skip this. This isn't working. You're wasting your time." And if you listen to those voices, you lose. You go back to being who you always were, someone full of good intentions but empty of action. But the greatest enemy is not the outside world. It is what lives inside you. The voice of laziness, the voice of comparison. Thoughts like, "That guy already made it, and here I am with this ridiculous paper. Is this really for me? Am I just fooling myself?" Then you might remember what Hill wrote. Persistence is the magic ingredient that turns desire into gold. And you understand, it's not about being motivated, it's about being disciplined, about keeping the habit even on the bad days, especially on the bad days. You begin to identify your saboteurs. Fear of ridicule, fear of trying and failing. But you also realize something important. Every fear has a root, and almost always that root is in the stories we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I started too late. My life is harder than others. Lies. Stories that keep us stuck because they free us from the responsibility of acting. And only when you start answering those voices with your purpose, with your daily affirmation, do they begin to lose strength. Because the mind believes what you repeat. If you repeat excuses, you live in mediocrity. If you repeat a clear purpose with emotion every day, you reprogram your brain. And yet the tests will come. Family arguments, unexpected debts, lack of support, extreme fatigue, old wounds. All of that may happen, and you may feel on the edge of giving up. But something inside you will say, just one more day, only one more day. And day after day, you become stronger. Understand this. Your environment will resist. Your body will resist. Your friends may think you're acting strange, but you need to cross this invisible barrier because on the other side is your new identity. One that no longer depends on willpower, but on consistency, on integrity with yourself, on a commitment no one sees, but that transforms every corner of your life. There comes a day when you notice something subtle but powerful. What once felt like effort now begins to feel natural. Writing your purpose, repeating your affirmation, visualizing your future, it's no longer a battle, it becomes a part of who you are. You realize that while others are still trapped in complaints, distractions, and impulses, you have created an invisible shield. You no longer live by reaction, you live by direction. It's at this stage that the world begins to respond. New opportunities appear, people start to notice a difference in you, and even if they don't say it, they feel that something has shifted. You are no longer the same. The turning point is not external success, it's internal certainty. It's when you no longer ask, will this work? Because you already know. It's already working. You are no longer hoping, you are building. And from that point forward, persistence ceases to be suffering and becomes power. The habit, repeated day after day, is what transforms invisible seeds into visible results. After months of planting invisible seeds, the first fruits appear, sometimes in small ways. An unexpected opportunity, an idea that turns into income, a door that opens without you forcing it. Other times in big ways, a business takes off, a partnership emerges, or your financial situation begins to change drastically. You finally understand the law that few believe until they live it. Persistence multiplies results in silence. While most give up at the first resistance, you endured. And because of that, you now harvest what seemed impossible. The best part is not even the money, recognition, or freedom that comes. It's the new identity you built. You prove to yourself that you are capable of deciding something and following through until the end. That makes you unstoppable. At this point, fear no longer dominates you. Obstacles still exist, but you face them with another posture. Problems are no longer signals to stop. They are confirmations that you are moving, and you discover that success is not an event. It is a state. It's not about reaching a final destination, but about becoming the person who walks the path with conviction, regardless of circumstances. This is the true reward, not the things you obtain, but the person you become. One day you will look back and realize that the piece of paper where you once wrote a simple statement was the seed of everything. That moment of decision divided your life into two. Before and after, what once seemed like just words became a force capable of shaping reality. And you will know that the greatest wealth was never the money, but the power of consciously choosing who you wanted to be and becoming that person. And now you understand. True success is not kept, it is multiplied. The more you share your journey, the more people you inspire. The more you give, the more the universe returns. Because in the end, the greatest mission is not just to conquer, but to awaken others to the fact that they too can. That they don't need to accept a life of mediocrity. That inside them lies the same invisible force that once changed your destiny. So what can you cut today? What small habit can you adjust now? And who do you want to be a year from now if you start taking action now? If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Here we'll continue learning about financial reprogramming, emotional autonomy, and strategies that really work to break out of autopilot and build freedom.